Hey guys,
Now I'd like to open the floor to public comment. Public comment may include any comments relating to tonight's agenda items. Commenters must state their name, whether they are a resident of the township or a non-resident taxpayer in the township. If you do not identify yourself, your comments will not be included in the official minutes. Do we have any public comment? Okay, not hearing any. I think now I'd like to thank Bruce Masi for joining us tonight. We will be discussing the PennDOT Route 896 corridor construction project that will be underway. Bruce, I don't really have too much to say as a preamble, so maybe I can just hand it over right to you.
Very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thank you also for putting up this meeting where we can come back to revisit some of the questions that we had at the last meeting that where we were discussing the 896 project. Jeff or whomever, if I may ask, Tom Lindsay is going to need to present some information tonight. So I don't know if there's a special position he needs to be with regard to the meeting or not.
he's been made a co-host.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much, Jeff. I appreciate it. Okay, to head back to some of the issues that had come up last time. One of the questions was concerning anticipated construction. We are tying a few loose ends up on the project, including this meeting here, which is predominantly going to be discussing the traffic control plan, although other issues as well. So we're anticipating that we will have a bid letting this summer and that an award will be given probably early autumn of this year to try to get things started. One of the items that between the department and Franklin Township we're still coordinating on is the roundabout maintenance agreement. That is up with the attorneys for the Commonwealth. They did do outreach to me asking for some clarifications, which I did provide to them, and I'm waiting for them to come back with a decision as to whether the modifications that you folks had asked for can be indeed implemented into the agreement. As soon as I hear word back, I'll get a hold of Jeff and we'll see if we can button that up. Another item that was asked of us before was with regard to the videos that will be taken before and after the local detours start. That question was if that information could be shared with the township. I believe that can be. So we'll move forward in anticipation of that. That, of course, obviously will happen during the construction phase of the project.
Hey, Bruce, can you remind me what the nature of those videos are?
Yes. Yeah, the request was made that videos would be done of the local roads that will be used for the detours prior to them being used and then after, so that there would be documentation if there was any, let's say, unusual wear and tear, et cetera, and then a conversation between the township and the department could
Okay.
be held as to what to do about it.
Okay, I understood. Thank you.
No problem. The next item has to do with the lighting and also the treatment in the center of the roundabout, and I'm going to hand that over to Tom Lindsay to talk to you guys about.
Bruce, before
Yes.
you hand over, so when the first issue, which was data construction, you told us about the bidding and you told us about the award, but you never really said when the construction would start. So is that
Well,
going to be
that would be
following
up
year?
that would be up to the contractor who wins the award. They could start some mobilization and some clearing and activities like that. That could happen early. What also would need to happen early is there's a series of utility pole relocations that are needed. All those activities I could see happening in the late part of 2025. And depending on how the contractor decides to approach the project, there may be some roadway construction in 2025 absolutely by spring of 26, this will all start quite, feverishly. But depending on, how the contractor, him or herself, wishes to approach this, and any type of clearances they might have to put together and have in place before they start, it may happen at late 2025, or it may just be spring of 2026 where it really goes into full tilt. Okay, with that, Tom, if you could give us an update.
Yep. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Bruce. So I'm going to address a couple of the questions that came up at the last presentation about the roundabout at 896 and 841. The first one being about the lighting. The roundabout does have to be lit. That's a requirement from PennDOT. And someone did mention the new roundabout at Route 41 and 926, and we're actually going to be taking the same approach that was taken in that project, is that the lighting fixtures that are put up will have the ability to have a house side shield mounted on them to cut down on spillover outside of the roundabout as much as possible. So that's going to be part of the bid contract, part of the construction documents. And if there are problems after construction, PennDOT can be contacted. The other question, I'm going to try to share now. The other question had to do with the treatment in the center of the roundabout.
The graphic is up, Tom.
Okay, thank you. So just to orient everybody as to this graphic, 896 is running left to right across the center of the screen, 841 from top to bottom. Northbound 896 would be to your right. So the church is in the lower left-hand corner, kind of here off the screen, just to kind of orient everybody as to where the roundabout's positioned. As you can see, it's actually a little off of the alignment of 896, shifted to the east. And that just helps the alignment of the roundabout and helps the impact surrounding it. And basically what we're showing now, what we're going to specify for the center of the roundabout, as opposed to landscaping or a grass that would need some constant maintenance, we're going to be installing, basically it's an inlaid asphalt that has a brick appearance to it. We're going to be installing the same type of thing in crosswalks down at Appleton. But that will be in the center of the roundabout in lieu of, like I said, a landscaping or grass or something like that that would require more maintenance and more periodic work on it. So Bruce, with that, I'll turn it back over to you, and I'm going to stop sharing.
Well, can I just, I'm sorry, can I ask another question? So could you go back to that diagram? Where these lights are going to be at? So just now that you have the diagram up, maybe you could point to how many lights, where they would be located?
I don't have that information exactly on top of my head. There are 4 lights, and generally they're kind of in the center in between the legs of the roundabout.
Driveway extension.
Great, thank you.
Yep, sure.
Before, I guess one more question before you move on. Is there an example that we can see, and I don't expect you to have it now, but maybe we can go look at it in the future, of a similar roundabout that we've put in to say, oh yeah, this is about the size, this is what the brick inlaid center looks like, so we can get a kind of an idea in our head what that intersection is going to look like once you're finished?
The newest one I can think about is the one on 841 as you're going up to Route 10. Is it going to be similar to that one? I'm sorry, I meant 41. Did I say? I meant 41 to 10.
So is there a similar installation to what you're envisioning here that you've done recently that we could compare to?
Bruce, I don't know if you have any in mind. We'd have to track down one of a similar size. That would, right. I don't want to just throw one out there not knowing if it's much smaller or larger.
Yeah.
Right. I can contact the project manager for the 41 project, and we'll take a look at that, and then Tom and his crew will compare that roundabout versus this one, and we can get back to you with that answer.
Sure. Yeah, just so I can see what we're doing here. And
Mhm.
is this a generally a small, it's not a very, it's a pretty tight location that we're putting this into, which is this a smaller than a typical roundabout that you usually encounter, or to kind of fit in the location?
No, I think it's pretty typically sized, and in fact,
Okay.
with the amount of truck traffic that we have, and also considering for farm equipment, it may even be a little bit larger
Oh, wow.
than you would normally see in a location like this, because those types of vehicles were considered to make sure they could get through.
And then the plan for the road that we're abandoning, the stretches of road that we're abandoning, we're gonna dig that up and put some vegetation there.
Correct. That'll be that the pavement will be removed. It'll be backfilled and graded, and then it will be seeded.
Great. All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks so much, Tom. So that brings us back to the last issues that were brought up with regard to the traffic control plan. And just as a reminder, there's a lot of discussion we've had over the years with regard to that and the various detour routes. And we were asked if we could make modifications, and we have, such that, we broke some of the movements between different roads than we originally had. We were asked if State Road in New London could not be used, and we figured out a way not to do that, to avoid using that. Recently, as we had reported last meeting, we were 2 meetings ago, we were asked if we could not have Peacedale Road be used because of the school that was there, and we were able to accommodate that. But the last request, which was last meeting, as for us to not use Gypsy Hill Road, that is actually something that we can't do. We need to use Gypsy Hill in order to have the local detours actually work. If we don't use Gypsy Hill Road, then basically we're going to have not just truck traffic that's heading from US 1 down into Maryland and over to Delaware and back again. It would be everybody, which I just really don't think would work, because you'd have folks coming in inside of that exterior route that would have no signing whatsoever, and then they just end up at the construction area and would have no idea how to get around. So it's why in the first place that we've been working with you guys, New London, Franklin, London, Brenton, to work through how we can utilize the local roads in order to do this, so that the local detours would work. And so I wanted to let you know that we did, the last request that was made, we did take a look at how we could do things, and that's just not really something that we could accommodate. And
So
that,
I guess just before we go off the Gypsy Hill Road,
sure.
So Gypsy Hill Road is a problematic road now, without all of the traffic in the area being funneled down through it. Terrible sight lines. We've done a lot to try and mitigate speeding. People tend to drive too fast down that road. And so locals, we kind of know, okay, take our time and be careful there. But now we're going to be funneling people who are used to driving too fast down 896 down to a really narrow road with a lot of people who live on it. And so that being said, is there any speed mitigation, safety implementations that PennDOT can put in place
Well,
along Gypsy Hill Road to make sure that the increase in traffic doesn't impact the safety of the residents who are living on that road?
right. So as you mentioned, the speeding issue, a request was made for us to put a provision in the package to allow for state police to be utilized for that at the discretion, of the PennDOT resident on site and coordinating through the contractor. And we can do that. We can put that provision into the construction documents, and we can, also have discussions with, Franklin Township or either New London or London Britain with regard to that, and how those resources can be metered out during the construction itself. That is something we can do, and that is something that we're going to be putting into the construction package.
So what does that mean? Like you're gonna buy a policeman? I mean, there's not that many to begin with. So how does that work?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your
Yeah, I'm
question?
trying to understand. So you said you're going to put it in the package, a police officer to monitor the speed. So does PennDOT pay for a police officer to be there, or do you just?
Correct.
Okay. So that
Correct.
you'll
That
give them
would-
some resources to use money. You'll give them money so they can have that extra resource.
Exactly. Exactly. And usually what happens, it's more often done with local police, but I know that you guys have utilized the state police, is that it usually ends up being off-duty officers that, take basically another shift via, this contract. They would be out enforcing the speed zones along the detour routes. So it would function in a similar fashion. And okay. That to me was all the outstanding issues that I was aware of from the last meeting. So again, we wanted to circle back and chat with you folks and let you know our findings from the last inquiries. And just want to reiterate that ultimately what we would need from New London Township, Franklin Township, and London Britain Township, it could be as simple as a email, and it could be as elaborate as an official letter, indicating that the township is in agreement based on the traffic control plan, that we could utilize their local roads. With that, we can then go back to the traffic operations unit inside District 6, get the traffic control plan approved. And just as a reminder to the folks in the room here, because we would be using roads in Maryland and Delaware, we will finish the coordinations and negotiations we have with those two states, which we had started, to get their sign off as well. So we would need your 3 municipality agreements, and then an official agreement between Pennsylvania and Maryland and Pennsylvania and Delaware to be able to have the truck route done. That's probably the longest time frame that we would need, and everything else we could probably finish up inside of that, and then get this out to the contractors to bid on, and then get the construction started.
So I would expect that we'd have that roundabout agreement signed first before you get us writing a letter that says we agree with the plan, right? 'Cause
If you wish to do it in that fashion, we can.
I mean, I like to see,
Betsy or Dawn, do we have questions for Bruce?
It's pretty clear.
you were mumbled. You want to try again?
I'm sorry, I just think it's pretty clear. I mean, we'll talk about it, but I think it's laid out pretty clearly.
Betsy, you're muted. All right. Any other questions, Jim?
No, okay.
So
Sorry.
go ahead, Betsy.
I was just going to say, I would like to see an example of what we're getting
Yeah.
before we agree to it.
Yeah.
Right, yes, that's good.
I'm sorry, could you clarify example of
So-
the agreement or
No,
example of the
Oh,
detour plan?
Basically, what it might look like.
The roundabout, Bruce, what David
Oh, okay.
already
Yeah,
asked you
yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yes. Yeah, we'll get that over to you.
Right.
So the other piece I'd like to understand is what other touch points are we going to have with you before construction begins? So we have, we're going to come to an agreement and sign, make sure that we're all okay with the plans, and then construction is going to begin. So there's two real factors that I want to make sure are that I'm clear on. One is, we as a board need to make decisions and agree with the plan and work with you to sign the paperwork. And then two, we also need to educate our residents to make sure that they know what's going to happen to the roads they drive on and when it's going to happen, and what to expect. And so what's that communication plan for both of those situations?
Okay, so two-part answer to that. So you folks, for better or for worse, have been working with me throughout the design process. That's the unit I'm with. When it goes to construction, it's a different unit that does the construction, and we have been apprising the construction unit of the discussions that we've been having here, and they can see all the stuff that's in the provisions, special provisions, et cetera. So there'll be a contact for this project within the construction unit, and that will then be the key contact during construction between any of the townships and the department. I will provide that information to you folks once the contractor has been selected. So there'll be kind of a handoff from myself to this individual. At that point in time, once the contractor has been awarded the project and then discusses more in detail with the department how they envision doing this, then that individual can reach out to the township to inform you guys, here's what we're thinking of doing and how we're doing it, and here's the various pieces of progression that are anticipated and our best guesstimate of the timeframes, and then you guys can inform your constituents of that.
So,
Does that
so
make
Bruce,
sense?
so Bruce, you said the contractor can reach out to us. I would prefer that he will or she will reach out to us.
Yeah, yes, and it's not the contractor; it would be the PennDOT representative in construction that would do that.
And Bruce, one of the last times that you were in here, there were several phases. That's what you're talking about? The contractor, once chosen, can change those phases around.
Yes,
to
yes,
their
and
liking.
and with that, how that process would occur again, as a to refresh what I had said before. So Tom and his crew had developed, from a design perspective, our best approach to how to do the various local detours and the phasing of them. That is our vision of it. Anyone who wins the contract and is awarded the contract can look at that and go, that's great, let's go do it. So then no changes will occur. That individual or that firm could look at it and say, oh, you know what? I could work on Hess Mill and Chambers Rock at the same time. That'd be fantastic. I can save time on this thing. I'd like to do that. That change, any other changes that they would want to do, they have to go to District 6 Traffic Operations Unit. They have to present a changed traffic control plan. That has to get approved before it heads out. And again, it would be the construction unit contact that then, would be reaching out to you guys to say, okay, there's this change being considered. Wanted you guys to be aware of it. Here's what's going on, da, 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 da. So, any changes that would happen from what your understanding is can be communicated via the construction unit to you guys. And then again, you can inform your constituents of that.
Okay. So, yeah, absolutely. And so I guess the other, and as with the construction begins, we'll have sufficient time to reach out to whoever our new contact is. One of the things I would like to do is have a similar, half-hour conversation and talk about what their plans are so we can have the residents ask questions and address any concerns. Is that something that you would foresee as possible with whoever wins this bid? Or is it maybe it's a PennDOT representative?
I don't see why that would be a problem. We've done that on other projects.
Sure.
Sometimes it's almost considered a public kickoff meeting for things, but yes, I don't see where that would be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would expect to have the PennDOT contact person plus the contractor come to one of these meetings.
Mhm.
So that would be nice to meet them and then also have the public have the opportunity to ask questions. And then that just puts everybody on the same page. Good.
Right.
Okay. Great. All right. Thank you very much. So if you don't mind, I'd like to have some time for public comment. We have a number, about 21 folks online, and we have another 5 or so people in here with us. So with that, I'd like to open the floor to public comment. This can include comments on anything attendees may want to share. Commenters must state their name, whether they are a township resident or a taxpayer of the township. So if you would like to make a public comment, I know there's a lot of people online, so hopefully we can kind of do this one at a time without over speaking.
Yeah, this is John Auerbach, Franklin Township resident for 45 years. I was pleased with the proposal to provide a paved treatment to the center of the roundabout. Not only would it resolve the maintenance issue, but more importantly, it improved the visibility of all drivers entering the roundabout as they could see across it and see it off to the side. So they would be able to see traffic beginning to enter the roundabout before they even got in there. No more comment.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Any other public comment? All right. Well, not hearing any.
So sorry, I couldn't figure out how to get off mute. It's Mary Hanley, Township resident. I actually have a question about the Gypsy Hill Road detour. If it's possible, there's that curve right at the church, and it has the speed sign there now. Is it possible to get a guardrail put in there so that there's telephone poles not hit, and possibly the townhomes getting hit if you have like 18 wheelers coming in?
So the guide rail that you're thinking of would be close to where the church is, which I believe is close to where Gypsy Hill is coming to 896.
Yes, it's on the south side of the road where the guardrail would hopefully be. Would be on the south side of the road.
I don't think cars are coming from that direction when the roundabout's coming in, right?
No, the detour. I'm sorry. The detour is what I'm talking about on Gypsy Hill. For when they're doing the detour.
So there could be southbound traffic.
No, 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 no. So the northbound traffic on 896 is going to be turning, let me think, right onto Gypsy Hill, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that curve right there. A lot of people hit that telephone pole. Do you know where I'm talking about? Right by the church across from where we vote.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice if there was like a guardrail there or something protecting the telephone pole.
Okay. We'll have to look into guardrails on Gypsy Hill Road. But I don't think we have a clear idea what that.
Yeah, do we do that or just PennDOT?
Well, Gypsy Hill Road is a township road. It's not a.
Yeah, but we're doing it for PennDOT. Like I rather have PennDOT pay for
Yeah.
it. But I know we need to look at
we
it
have to
first.
look at the situation.
So can we look at it and then if we decide it's something that we need, can we get back to you, Bruce, and talk about it? Is that possible?
Yes.
So Jeff, you'll put that on your action list.
Any other public comment?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Barbara Mandich. I'm a taxpayer in Franklin Township and I live on Den Road near the proposed roundabout. And first of all, I'd like to know how far up Den Road the construction will come. And then I'm concerned about the intensity and duration of the daily aggravation imposed by the construction. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Tom, do you perchance have the plans handy so that you could, one, answer the question of how far up Den Road that we are? Oh, there it is right there.
Yeah, so this is probably the best thing to show. And am I unmuted? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you are. Yeah, we can see.
I lost my screen with my mute button. There we go.
That's okay. We can see the graphic, Tom, and we can hear you.
Right. So construction on Den Road will extend not quite to the second house. Again, so 896 going left to right here. It'll go past the first house here and we'll stop before the second house.
Okay, I'm on the, I don't know what side you call it, but there's a barn there and then we have a house. And it looks to me like the red line's going to cut into our bank a little bit. I mean, are you guys going to be parking all the way up Den Road? Or are you going to be down at the corner? Am I going to be hearing beep, 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 beep all day and all night? Can you tell me a little bit more? Am I going to have to move while you're doing this? How long is it going to take?
Do you know, Tom, the duration of that particular detour?
I do not know the duration of that stage off the top of my head. We'll have to get back to you on that one.
You know, and you're going to be all around me. I have horses. I just don't know how I'm going to get through this improvement project living here.
And which one are you located in this one between?
Well, that's the barn that you're circling and the house is further up the road.
Further up Den Road.
Right there.
It's this one here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the horses are in the barn. They're going to be hearing this noise all the time. They're going to be all disturbed.
Understood. From a standpoint of hours, the contractor will have to follow, whatever noise ordinances are present in the township. They should not be working at night. I know we can tell you that much.
All right. And you don't know how long it will take?
Again, not off the top of my head with that for that stage where that work is being done, but we can provide you with that information.
All right, great. And should I have gotten a letter because it looks like you're going to be impacting our property and I haven't gotten a letter.
No, if we were actually impacting your property, you would have been approached already. So most likely what we're showing as the limits of the work there are still within the right of way of Den Road.
Okay, I mean, it looks to me like you're up to my fence line.
That may have something to do with the aerial photograph and it might be off a little bit. We'll have to take a look at that, but there should not be an impact there.
Okie dokie. Well, get back to me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Barbara.
Uh-huh.
Do we have any other public comment?
Yes, this is Laura Nystrom, Franklin Township resident. I was just wondering, is the funding for this project strictly state funding or is there federal monies involved?
There is actually a mix of federal and, oh, I'm sorry. No. This is a safety improvement project. This is a 100% federally funded project.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question. Any other public comment? All right. Well, not hearing anything, I would like to thank everybody for coming this evening. It's good to have this conversation. Before the construction gets underway, we'll have a similar town hall, make sure that we have an opportunity for residents to ask their questions. I think we still have a little bit of work to do in terms of understanding what the roundabout's going to look like and what the impacts are. I think Barbara brought up a very good point about impacts on local residents and, how they're going to live through this this disruption. So we should get a better, clear view on what that's going to be like and what those folks are going to have to deal with. So with that, I would like to adjourn tonight's meeting at what time is it? 7:35. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
You're very welcome. Have a good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody.
Yeah.